Yaho everyone! Hi, welcome to today's video. So I know it's been a while since I've streamed or recorded or like done anything, and I'm trying to get back into it. There's just been a lot going on, but while I'm gone from streaming, I did want to still put out some kind of content. So we're going to be continuing, or I guess revamping my LIVE2D beginner's guide with this model right here by Sadpi. I think that's how you say Sadpi. On Twitter. I will link everything down below. So I'll link the model, I'll link their Twitter, I'll link LIVE2D, I'll link everything. I kind of don't have a script for this. I'm kind of just going off the dome. So I'm gonna try my best and hopefully be a little bit better than the video last time. Now that I kind of know how I want to structure things and everything. So in this video, we're just going to be going through the main parts of LIVE2D, everything that you need to know, all these little buttons up here, what are deformers, what are parameters, stuff like that. And we're going to have a really good time. So yeah, we're not actually going to be working on the model today. I'm just going to be going through kind of the basics of LIVE2D. So if you clicked on this video and you don't know what LIVE2D is, which I don't know why you would do that, but in case there are some people out there that just have no idea what LIVE2D is. LIVE2D is a program that allows you to animate 2D images. So it's called LIVE2D. It's mainly used for, or I guess it's most popularly known for animating VTuber models, which is how I'm moving right now. So I'm a 2D image, but my model parent of my my customizable model made me move. So that's kind of what LIVE2D is. There's probably way better explanations out there. That's mine. That's the one you're gonna get. So LIVE2D, there is a free trial. I believe it's 42 days. So you can kind of test to see if it's like the right program for you. And there's also paid options. So I'm pretty sure I got like a student sale for like 3 years, a 3-year key. It is kind of pricey, but I believe it's worth it, in my opinion. It's if you're interested in these kind of things and you want to learn how to do it, I would say do the trial first. And if you really like it and you have, work lined up for you or whatever, go for it, man. But yeah, so this is the beautiful model that we're going to be working on in this series. If you're wondering how some basic mouse controls, you can kind of see I'm moving around. I'm holding down the middle scroll wheel and I am moving. This is like zoomed scroll wheel, and then I'm holding it down to move like this. You can right click to get this on an object and on a piece. So like this hair piece right here controls Z to move it back to its original position. You can right click on it and get all these different options. The only way that I really use this is to do the object at cursor, especially if there's many things layered on top of each other. You can like select like, okay, I actually just want the face base instead. And it kind of works like that. And then obviously the left click is you can select and move stuff around. Okay, so that's like mouse controls. Now starting from left to right, I want to go over some important things that you need to know first. So you can't really see it but right here next to edit, so this is edit, you can't see it, but there is a button that says file. If you click on that, you have a few options here. The ones that you're going to want to know how to use, obviously, are the open. So here's where you open your PSD file. So LIVE2D only supports .psd files. So if you draw your model and it's not in a .psd, unfortunately it will not work. So you have to remember to export it as a PSD. So when you click this, it'll open up, I'm not going to do that, but it'll open up whatever folder you have. Just find your PSD, do that. You can also save right here. This is save, or do Control S. I like to save as, or you can do a quick save, which is normally what I do. So I save as when I am done working on the project for the day, and I do Control S just for like a quick save, so that just in case I forget to save as, or something happens or it corrupts, if you do open recent file, it'll do your last Control S. So that's very handy to know. Okay, so this right here probably looks very intimidating. I know this program does look very intimidating, but I promise I will try my best to explain it as simple as possible. So this is like basically all your parts, but it's not in folders. So, you know, when you draw a model, you have different layers, different folders for like the eyes, for the body, for the hair. This is kind of like that, except there's none of the original folders that you put in there. So, for example, like this heart shaped right here is over here. I'm kind of covering it, but this is where the original folders were. And as you can see, heart shape expression is actually hidden. So if I were to toggle that, it would show up, but it's still on here, even though it's hidden in the parts menu. I'm realizing this is kind of confusing. I'm sorry. But it'll make more sense once I explain everything. Alright, so this is your like deformer log. This is also where when you make warp deformers, this is where you're gonna find them. They're not gonna be in the parts. This is just your actual drawn layers. This is gonna be where your rotation and warp deformers are gonna be. So yeah. And also, okay. And then right here is the parameter menu. So this is where you're gonna be making everything move, basically. It's kind of like an animation. You have keyforms. You're mainly gonna focus on 2 or 3 keyforms, which you can add but with these buttons right here. For example, if I go onto angle Y, I can click either 2 and it'll add 2 keyforms, or if I click 3, it'll add 1 in the center. Most of the time you're gonna want to add 3, but sometimes you'll want to add 2, just depending on what you're moving. Alright? So, for example, I can take this head face space right here, and I can, hold on, let me get rid of that. I can take this face space, and if I want to move the head up, for example, I would use 3 keyforms. 1 for looking straight, positive 30 for looking up, and negative 30 for looking down. Alright? So I would just go to that keyform, hold shift if you wanna, and click if you wanna keep it straight, and just move it up. Right? Now, if I go back, it kind of fills in the in-betweens for you and makes it move. If you want to make an exact replica of what you did on the other side, you're going to want to go to this pie menu. And you're going to want to click motion mirroring. And that is going to basically allow you to flip whatever you just moved either horizontally or vertically on the opposite key. So we're going to want to flip it vertically since it's going up and down. And if I move it, now it goes down. We'll get more into that when I actually start moving the model, but I just wanted to show you how the parameters kind of and keyforms kind of work so that you're not totally filled with new information when we actually start moving them. If you want to get rid of keyforms, you just click this button here and it deletes all of them. This is the keyform menu, or like the edit keyform menu, so you can add like your own keyforms manually. If you like click like here, okay, now there's a bunch of keyforms, and yeah. But yeah, you're gonna need to make new keyforms, but don't get rid of any of the default ones that they give you unless you really, really don't think you need it. For example, some of these brow ones, we don't need, or like these hair moves we don't need because we'll make our own hair parameters. But I would definitely at least make sure you keep where is it, breath. That's going to be really important to make your model breathe. It's specially designed so that it automatically moves by itself to make the breathing animation. So do not get rid of this. Do not get rid of that. Alright, next up, this is your model menu. So when you import your PSD file, this is where the model will show up. And I already showed you kind of how to move and stuff. But, you know, let's just get rid of this background because it's the same color as my actual. You can change, if your model doesn't come with a background, like this one comes, I'm covering it, but this one comes with a gray background. You can actually go down here and change the color of your background. I like to keep it gray instead of white. I think the default is white. It's a little less crazy on my eyes. Okay. So up here is where we got some stuff. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is the tool details menu. This is where you'll see more information about how to use the different tools, which are up here, right? So let's just start from right to left because there's actually tools on the right side. So right here is your glue tool. This I'm not really gonna go into in this series, I'm gonna be honest, because I still kind of struggle with glue. It's a very advanced topic. And I don't think we're gonna need it for this model at all whatsoever. So we're not going to talk about glue, but just know it glues parts together. Okay, that's basically what it does. All right, this is a brush. This is a brush tool, and we use it to move pieces. That. So obviously this piece isn't meshed, so I should probably mesh them. So maybe we should actually start left to right. Okay, we'll start left to right. Forget I said anything. Like I said, I'm turning this off the dome, okay? So this is our texture atlas. Our texture atlas is going to allow us to... Well, we need a texture atlas to export the model, basically. So without a texture atlas, the files, there will be no textures. There'll be no model at all. You can move it all you want, but if you don't have a texture atlas, nothing will show up that is actually being moved. So I will get to that in the next video. But for now, here is where you're gonna mesh your layers, your parts. So let's take this bow for example. This is the auto mesh. I normally do heavy when I automatically generate a mesh. Sometimes you're gonna have to manually do it, which really sucks. But it does happen to where you need to manually do it yourself. I wouldn't worry about any of these because they're just kind of not necessary. But if I wanted to manually mesh this piece, I don't know why I can't think of the word. I would go to this one with the little pen icon, and that brings you to like a mesh edit menu. Right. So these little dots right here. These things are their mesh points. Your mesh points are how you're going to move everything. So here are some stuff in the tool details for your manual meshing. You got obviously your point maker, and these lines are just connecting it together. You have your point deleter, right? You have an eraser tool. So this actually, oh, that's really big. If you want to change the size of your brush tool or your eraser tool, hold down B and click and drag your mouse. And yeah. But this you can get rid of multiple at a time, obviously. And then this is a drawing one. So you kind of draw the line and it makes a mesh line, which I will show more how to use these tools when we start, like I said, when we start actually making the model move. But for now, this is the very basics. There is a mirror edit option. You have to make sure that your model is centered on the canvas. So like this model is not centered or where it thinks it should be. So I'm going to have to move this when we do the mouth meshing. But there is a mirror edit. Okay. Discard the changes, whatever. I will just auto mesh this for now, so I can show you how these tools kind of work. So here's the brush tool, like I said. Now your piece is going to move a lot better because it's actually meshed and it has vertices and mesh points on it. So the more that you're in the center, the better it'll get and the more it'll move. While if you're on the outskirts, only a little bit will move and it won't be very red. Which is, you can change the color of the weight, but I just have it as red because it's very like in your face, you know? Okay. Next to that is the, what's it called? What is this called? I don't know, the line mesh, the line editor thing. It makes yo, okay. It makes lines. So if I were to click 3 dots right here, you can kind of see this line it makes. By the way, this is the obviously select tool. But now, do you see what's going on here? It's really hard to explain. You kind of just have to look. It you can move it like this, or you can move it from this point like that, or from the bottom point, depending on how many times you click and make the circles. It makes like a line, so it's very good for hair. It's very good for other stuff like these tassels on the bow or whatever these are called, the bow things. Very good for that kind of stuff. But we don't need anything like that. This is the lasso tool. So if you want to select a certain amount of points, you can do that, and then you click your select tool. Only the points that you selected, the mesh points, will move. So very handy. This is the same thing, except that it's a brush tool. So I tend to use the brush tool a little bit more than lasso tool. I don't really use the lasso tool very often, if I'm being honest. But this just selects points at different weights, and you can have them move depending on how much weight you brushed over the points. So I'm just gonna leave this, whatever. I'll just leave it meshed. I don't care. Now we have a very important piece. This is called a warp deformer, and you're gonna be using these a lot. Okay, you're gonna be using these a lot. So basically, what it does is it groups parts together, your layers, into essentially one layer, but they can still be moved separately if you so wish. So I'm gonna take all of by shift clicking. From the top, shift, click to the bottom. These are all the bow layers. So now, if I grab it, just the bow is being moved. So you can do this. You can edit on the actual layers itself. I personally would not recommend doing that, though. I would make a warp deformer. So you click this. You can name it whatever you want. We're just going to call it test warp. Yeah, sure. TS warp. You can make it a parent or a child of an already existing warp deformer, but since we don't have any existing ones, I will explain this when we start moving the model. But for now, we'll keep it as a parent. You can change the warp division and Bezier division numbers, which is just how many points and stuff there is. But for now, we're just going to click create. And basically, that's going to make our warp deformer. So you see it's green and it has like a red outline. So the red outline is what you used to move. While these green parts move like that, and these gray ones are like smaller versions of the green ones. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I'm trying my best. Okay, so if you want to get rid, like, let's say you want to grab this center green, but you end up moving the whole thing. That's because this red box is in the way. So I'm pretty sure if you go into keyboard shortcuts up in file, you can change. So like, you can change your key binds, which I have 2 key binds that I use very frequently. So, what is it called even? Hold on, let me find it and I'll show you. Okay, so I found them. So right here, I have under show, and then right here, hide selected state is Control L. And what that does is make everything on your model window disappear. Just temporarily until you click Control L again. And basically that just allows you to see things move without these stupid grids in the way. And then the other one is Control H, which is the bounding box, which is this red box right here. So if I click Control H, that's going to, and this is just the keybinds that I used. You can make them whatever you want. But Control H allows me to select this green dot in the middle and move it, instead of moving the whole piece because of the bounding box. And then, like I said, Control L turns on hide selection. You can just see everything as if you didn't do any work. But once you have like parameters and stuff, you can see it move basically without all the boxes in the way. Because once you start meshing stuff, oh boy, it gets, there's a lot on your screen. Let me just tell you that. So this is the parts menu, and I'm actually going to move myself so that you can see parts menu. So basically, this is like if you were in your drawing program. This is kind of what that is. With all the folders you made, they're all separated. So if you needed to change the order in which things show up, so like the layer order, you can move, like, let's say, what's in front of some, this bang right here. Let's say I didn't want it in front of the face anymore. I can move this in the part menu to go underneath the face space, and it would go underneath the face space, obviously. But it wouldn't disappear. It's just like if you were to do it in your drawing program. It just, the layer order, right? There's also draw order, which is a complicated topic, which I will not be discussing in this series. If you're interested in draw order or glue or anything I say I'm not going to discuss, you can watch someone else's video. I'm sure someone else explains it way better than I do. This is just a very basic understanding. So yeah, you can, it also shows like your warps. So like I made this test warp right here. It does show them, but you can hide it if you click this, or you can hide it if you have like rotations or glue. You can hide them by clicking them as well. If you don't want it to show in your part menu, that's why you would do that. But it depends on what I'm working on if I choose to hide it or not. If there's a lot of them and I can already see them in the deformer menu, I'm like, okay, I don't really need it in the part menu, so I choose to hide it because it makes it less cluttered. That's just me though. So I think that's like all you really need to know for now in the modeling Live2D section. Obviously we have the animation side, which I'm not good at all, so I'm not even going to try to do a tutorial on it until I learn it myself first. Yeah. The last thing I want to show you before we end today's video is if we go to modeling and we go to physics settings down at the bottom, this is where it gets spicy. This is where it gets spicy. I need to move me again. Okay. So this is where it gets spicy because this is where you're going to see all your, and do all your physics. So physics are what give bounciness to the thingy. So that's why my hair moves. That's why my little algae moves, bouncing like that. That's why my eyes move and jiggle when I blink. All because of physics. I love physics. I think they make everything so much better. If we didn't have physics, I would cry. So all you really need to know is there's different ways you can do the posing. I always just do posing because it does that, and you click the play button and it'll move on its own. But it won't do that now because we don't have any physics. This is where you see all your parameters. As you can see, like I said earlier, the breath parameter is moving by itself. That means when you animate the breathing, it'll breathe automatically. So don't get rid of it. Don't get rid of it, okay? If you want to add physics, this is just very simple breakdown. You just click add. We'll call it okay. There's these presets, but I don't tend to use them a lot unless it's very specific, something that I'm using. Like if I'm doing FreeBridger and I have all of these blend shape physics things, I will put a physics model preset, but the input presets I don't gaff about. Okay, so these I'll talk about when we do physics. Right here, you're gonna need to add your input. So let's say I wanted to blink, right? I would input IR open. Let's just do the right eye. So there's two different types, angle, position. I'll talk more about those later in another video. All you need to know now, wow. I'm rhyming, is that your effectiveness needs to be at 100%. Otherwise it just straight up won't work. If your input effectiveness is not 100%. It starts at 0. I don't know why. Just put it to 100. Next you have down here, which is your pendulum settings. We can just add 1. If you click this little add button, There's duration, shaking influence, reaction time, and convergence speed. I think that's called. So it kind of tells you if you hover over it what these do. So I'm not going to get too into it. I really only change shaking influence and duration. I don't really mess with these unless it's very specific physics thing that I got to do. Now, if you click output settings, we don't have any output settings for the eye blink. But if you did, you would put it in there. And you would click output maximum and increase output. So once that's at 100, no matter what your scale is, your output has to be at 100, if that makes sense. So just change your scale until it's at 100. Change the duration, your shaking influence until how it looks, how you like, and that's the basics of physics. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. It's been like 30 minutes, which isn't bad, I guess. Yapping for 30 minutes straight is not horrible. I'm pretty sure I got through everything I wanted to say. So in the next video, we're going to be working on, basically, this is like episode 0, okay? This is like episode 0. So in episode 1, we're going to be learning how to like set up our parameters, set up our basic warp deformers. We're going to clip the model and do other stuff that I can't think of right now. So that's like three things that we're going to be doing. And then in episode 2, we'll finally start working on the eyes. So it'll be a little bit to start making the model move, but I promise it'll be worth it because I want this to be a very simple, straightforward guide. Because when I first started learning Live2D, yes, there were like rig with me's and stuff, but there wasn't a lot of straight up, here is how you rig a model from 1 to 100, from steps 1 to 100. There wasn't really any of that. So I want to be that person that can give some beginners some help. Because I don't believe in gatekeeping stuff like this. Some people, okay, I'm yapping now, I'm going on a tangent. Feel free to skip this if you don't care. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. But if you do care, there are some people I know that don't like giving out advice on these kinds of things because they're gonna be like, oh, well, they're gonna start taking my job opportunities. They're gonna start taking my commissions. I don't want new people in this space, which is so silly to me, by the way. I just find that funny. Because how are you gonna gatekeep something that's not even like yours? Like, you learned it from someone else. Like, you weren't the creator of this, bro. Like, you didn't make this. You don't have any right to say who can learn it or not, you know? But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that side of the community. So I hope to be on the other side, where we're very uplifting and positive, and we help each other out, which is what we're supposed to do. Okay, but anyways, that's all for me for now. Thank you for watching. I hope to be back streaming soon, but for now I'm gonna try and do this series so I can at least interact with you guys a little bit. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. Sayonara for now.